Well, good Tuesday morning, Bakersfield, surrounding communities, and everybody watching online on YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook Live. This is the Early Bird Special right here on KGEO Sports Talk, 101.1 FM, 1230 AM. I'm Chris Burdick. That's Sparky. Sparky, good morning.
Good
Let
morning.
them know what they're in for.
Who knows these days? We could talk football. We could talk about the crazy night of the NBA. We'll definitely talk the first Monday Night Raw. Some are hating on it. I personally enjoyed it, but we'll get with that with 24KG at 8 o'clock. And really, we could talk about anything and everything. You can jump in anytime at 661-842-2000.
We got some college football news out there for you as well as we got a little bit of an update of what's going on with the Ole Miss assistants, LSU assistants, whatever you want to call them. They work for both colleges at this point. And Trinidad Chambliss, apparently making me a liar, says he ain't going anywhere if he's granted another year of eligibility. He wants to stay at Ole Miss and finish his career with the Rebels and not leave with his former head coach of Lane Kiffin for Louisiana State. Shocking. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm really not. Plus, we got to get into the draft as well, as the NFL season is over, which means it's draft time. We figured out who's the number one overall pick, or at least who's on the clock, at least. And I'll let you know why I believe that the Raiders will, be doing a disservice by taking a guy like Fernando Mendoza when they can't even protect a guy like Geno Smith. So
it's a bigger position.
Oh, 100%.
And I think they'll address the offensive line through the free agency, but who knows these days? And I'm starting to think a lot of these Ole Miss players aren't really thinking, oh, I'm not jumping. Dude.
Some of them might not be, especially with the success that they've had this year in the college football playoff. They're probably telling each other, dude, we could do it ourselves. It wasn't necessarily Coach Kiffin that got us here. We got us here.
Even though he's the one collecting money when they win.
Again, and that's through just deals through LSU and whatnot. But I guess
just genius.
You guys heard me last week after the game on Thursday. I was very critical because the news that was coming out was that the assistants that would be leaving for LSU are now again on the bubble if they are going to be allowed to coach with Ole Miss here in the semifinals. That has been stomped out and thwarted. Apparently, the real story here is that the head coach, or rather new head coach of Ole Miss, has just told the assistants, hey, man, we know it is now, transfer time. It's time for people to really, dig deep for their teams and go find the next starter for their squad. And obviously Lane Kiffin needs help doing it out there in Louisiana. So the idea was actually, if you would like to leave, you are more than welcome to go. We will not fault you for it. If you want to stay like Charlie Weiss Jr. is, you are more than welcome to stay as well. This has just been a really weird back and forth with these assistants. And honestly, both of them, or all of them, being employed essentially by both Ole Miss and LSU. It's still unclear if Ole Miss is actually paying these men, though, who came back to coach for the college football playoff. I'd venture to say no. I'd venture to say LSU most likely is taking care of that, much like they're taking care of Lane Kiffin's bonuses for every game that they win. But at the end of the day, it at least cleans it up to a certain degree because, like I tell you guys, traditionally, when these stories first break, the most, the wrongest information, as badly as that's put, is the first stuff that's get put out there. So that would make a lot of sense in this situation as well. So that is a development. And to be honest with you, I hope the Ole Miss Rebels win the whole dang thing. I know I've been rooting for the Hoosiers. I'd love to see a Hoosiers and Ole Miss final, but
Miami, baby.
With the way this has been going, with the way that these players have bounced back from this just circus of an end of a season, I mean, they've won me over. At least Trinidad has won me over. I hope he gets his next year of eligibility as well and gets to come back for one more ride. Although, personally, I think he's done enough to really warrant at least being drafted in the NFL. Not maybe a first rounder, but he's at least a draft pick at some point. And we all know the best quarterbacks traditionally don't even come from the first round anymore. A lot of the time they come from later rounds.
Right. So, I'm a Georgia fan, so I wouldn't be mad.
I I mean,
Yeah,
again,
you beat us. Go ahead.
right?
I'd
And
rather root you guys on than anyone else.
the last 4 teams, man, any of these guys could win the national championship and I'd be happy. Indiana, Oregon. I mean, I don't want to see Oregon. Let's be fair, but Oregon still is better than Alabama or any of these other teams. And then Ole Miss and Miami, I would love to see either of those two win. It's a come from behind thing when it comes to Miami, especially since they were, told when we started this whole thing that you don't even deserve to be here in the first place, which I found ridiculous, but that's
It's the
how
same thing people
college
are
football
saying about
fans are.
the Panthers
Yeah.
right now. I just was listening to whatever the hell that morning show is, and they were bashing the Panthers. I'm like, dude, they turned it up when they needed to. Defenses win championships. Obviously, that offense has been hit and miss. But back to college, I personally would root on the U, but
Mhm.
I mean, I wouldn't be mad at any of them, and I'm with you. Anybody but Oregon.
Well, the U, especially for you being a Georgia fan, at least has a connection to the Georgia Bulldogs with
Yep.
Carson Beck being there. And it would be kind of cool to see him win an Natty again. I don't know, man. There's a big piece of my heart that's just saying if it ain't the Hoosiers, it's got to be the Rebels for me. But again, it's just the storyline of it all. The thought of the Rebels coming back after Lane Kiffin left for a different college that he claims he has a better shot to win a national championship at. And it would just be not only poetic, but just the best spurn to one of college football's biggest villains that he leaves for a college that claims that, oh, yeah, we can get you a natty. And the college he just left wins a natty. And all of his assistants win a natty, but he doesn't. I mean, come on. This is one of those full circle moments that I think a lot of college football, at least long-term college football fans, will enjoy just solely because it's happening to Lane Kiffin. And Lane Kiffin, for the longest time, has just been one of college football's biggest villain's the best way to put it. Since I have, we're on radio and I can't exactly call him what I want to, but he has been college football's biggest villain for years. And to see him, or at least his team, win a championship and he's not on it, I think that a lot of college football fans would actually be happy with that. But it is what it is. Let's shift over to the NFL a little bit, as we got a little bit of an update when it comes to the quarterback situation for the Miami Dolphins.
Oh God.
Tua Tagovailoa says that he would find it
dope. It would be dope
to open up.
Was so
in
stupid.
What are your thoughts, my friend? I mean,
He's
you
an
are the
idiot.
long-term Miami fan.
He's an idiot. And personally, if you're under contract, especially the highest paid player on that team, just shut up. Just shut your stupid mouth. And of course, Mike McDaniel, backtracked and said, hey, anything could happen. The dude is under contract. We haven't even had our first meeting. He will be meeting with Tua this morning at 8:00. And we talked about it a little bit yesterday. Obviously, they're going to start with the GM search first. McDaniel is safe, if that's what the word you want to use. I think it comes with whatever GM they bring in, and then they have an adult conversation and say, hey, what is the future in your eyes that what you want to build with this Miami Dolphins team? I saw the list that Troy Aikman, Dan Marino, and all the guys are meeting up with. There's some names out there. There was, Champ Kelly, who is the interim GM right now with Miami. I think he has a good position with the job. There's some Rams assistants, several guys from the 49ers that McDaniel has worked with. The Eagles assistant GM, the Green Bay vice president. There's a long list of names of interviews that they have scheduled to do. But when it comes to Tua, I've heard names that Miami could trade up in the draft, which I would hope and beg that they don't do, because we have bigger holes to fill. But I will say, Tua, just shut up, dude. And the other one is, I've heard, what is his Malik Willis. I've heard his name. I've heard Mac Jones, which again, it goes back to Frisco and running a offense kind of similar to Mike McDaniel's. I could see Mac Jones being a game manager and a better quarterback than what we have, but we'll see. I rolled my eyes when I saw Tua, and I'm like, why are we even talking to a backup bench quarterback?
Well, again, it's because of the thought of now the season's over, and Like you were just bringing up when it comes to Mac Jones, I think now with the influx of quarterbacks that have had resurgences in other area, or I'm sorry, for other organizations rather, is bringing all of this attention towards these kind of situations. Everybody's looking at Tua saying, okay, are you going to be the next one? Are you going to go to, say, the Raiders and turn into Alabama Tua Tagovailoa? Or are we just going to see you fade out into obscurity? Because I think a lot of people are wondering if that's just the case for all of these athletes. Is it not necessarily how good you are, but where you were drafted and the situation you were drafted to? And when it comes to Mike McDaniel, I think it kind of echoes the same thing that the Irsay family told Steichen and their GM yesterday. The expectation for you to succeed has never been higher. And if you are safe, quote unquote, as Sparky just put it, and I think you could put Todd Bowles in this situation as well, who the growing sentiment is that he is safe and he will not be fired from Tampa Bay.
Really?
That is what I read. But again, I read that about Jonathan Gannon too, and we all saw what happened to that yesterday after the show. And I have some reasoning for that as well, because there's a good reason why Jonathan Gannon got let go. Same with Kevin Stefanski, because I know everyone's saying, oh, Kevin Stefanski was great for Cleveland for the last 6 years. Did we? And I totally forgot this number, but guess how many quarterbacks they've had in that 6-year span, Sparky?
20.
13.
13.
13. That means on average, Kevin has used 2 quarterbacks a year, maybe, if not a third, which we all saw this year. Come on. I think Stephen A. Smith said it very well yesterday. At some point, where do you look at your coach and say, you can't find one? One of these guys isn't your guy? I mean, I would have sat there and told him that when he told me Dylan Gabriel's my guy. The last 13, 12 have been your guy. So where the heck has this been? So that's besides the point. When it comes to Mike McDaniel, Todd Bowles, and all these coaches that are safe, there is now a higher expectation that, okay, we're going to keep you for at least the first 2 months of the season. But if you guys start out 1-5, 2-6, somewhere in that area,
again,
yeah, you're going to be shipped out quicker than Dable was in New York.
And I don't think Mike McDaniel is as safe as he thinks.
No.
I really think that, if the Harbaugh name gets pulled, if he gets canned, I think there's other couples. I mean, Matt Eberflus, the defensive coordinator with Dallas, just got let go this morning. I don't think the firing of coaches is over. I think there's going to be several more. And, to tell you the truth, to go back to Cleveland, do you think the Deshaun Watson experience is finally over?
I've been saying that, yes, but there are some people with a growing sentiment of why wouldn't you give him a shot next season, including one Rich Eisen, who I adore. And honestly, we have some audio from him, so let's hear from him and his crew, who all believe that it's probably Deshaun Watson's job to lose next year.
The Browns are moving on, and whoever takes the job, it's like, hey, you got a bunch of fresh rookies who just balled out, okay? And the 6th overall pick. And also Deshaun Watson. Don't you think he's starting next year?
I do.
You'd think so, right?
Why wouldn't they give it one last run?
50-something million reasons.
For all your money that you've put in his pocket.
Exactly.
And he's ready to play. Let's see what you got. I mean, we've seen Rodgers at age 42, a year removed from an Achilles. And we've seen what Cousins looks like now, a year removed from Achilles, doing what he did in the last 4 games. Deshaun Watson's a spring chicken compared to those guys.
Now, they're not necessarily wrong that he is a spring chicken comparatively. I'm sorry, I'm looking for something real quick here. Because
I'm just wondering if it's more of a discussion with Shador, Dylan Gabriel. I mean, what are you doing with all these quarterbacks, considering you're bringing in a new coaching regime?
Right.
I mean, that'd be, say you're a head coach, you're looking for a job, and Cleveland calls you and says, hey, we really like you. We want you to be the next face of the Cleveland Browns. And you look at the roster, you look at, okay, we'll have 2 young, second-year quarterbacks and Deshaun Watson.
Right. And again, Deshaun Watson to the eye, if we were talking about Deshaun Watson from back, early 2020 area, obviously we would be saying, well, yeah, of course you're going to play Deshaun Watson. And as they stated, you got 50+ million reasons to play him. And that does factor in for people who don't believe that. I mean, it's the same thing when we talked about the Mac Jones, Brock Purdy situation. Of course, the amount of money that you pay a guy factors into his ability to play football. But personally, I don't think it's a good idea. The last time this guy saw a football field was October of 2024. We're now headed into 2026. He's had nothing but turmoil the entire time, whether it be legal or injuries. And the last time we saw him, it wasn't like he was a superstar. He actually looked pretty dang awful from everybody. If you guys remember what happened,
he was bad.
He was really bad. So again, Browns are going to Brown. Browns are going to do what the Browns do best, which is mess all this up at some point. They really will. I would not be surprised if the next coach coming in starts Deshaun and tells Shador you're back to third string. But in my personal opinion, what you should do is use that 6th overall pick to go find a wide receiver that can actually catch and get open. Keep Shador Sanders as the starter. Give him a full season with the starting squad. And let's see what you can do. You already know you have the defense. All you have to do is find the leader to make this all work. And if I'm wrong, and in training camp, Deshaun comes out looking like his old Texan self, and he's the vocal leader that the Cleveland Browns needed, then by all means start him. But I haven't heard anything from inside the Cleveland Browns camp that makes me believe that not only the coaches will get behind Deshaun, but his teammates will. Because that's the other thing that no one really talks about is who do the teammates want to lead them? Do they want Deshaun or do they want Shador? Do they want the guy that could potentially go and get in trouble again with a massage therapist just because he's living on top of life again as a starting quarterback in the NFL? Or are you going to take the rookie that had flashes of looking pretty good, but he's still a distraction in himself just solely because he's a Sanders?
It's the same thing. I mean, Mel Kiper put out his way too early mock draft, and he agrees with you too. He has them taking Caleb Downs from Ohio State, one of the top wide receivers in the draft, and they definitely need wide receiver help.
Yes, because honestly, outside of potentially maybe New England's, I don't think that there's anybody that has a worse wide receiver room. I really don't. Jerry Jeudy, although when he was drafted was supposed to be this next big wide receiver, he has barely even scratched the surface of a wide receiver 2, in my opinion. And there's really nobody else besides a running back to throw to. And Fannin. Actually, Fannin, the rookie tight end, has been a pretty outstanding highlight for them as well. But yeah, when it comes to the quarterback situation in Cleveland, one, obviously, I agree with you that I think they need to just focus on getting the head coaching part of all of this right. Find an offensive-minded guy that's going to be able to develop the guys that you need, because you did draft some incredible rookies that balled out this year, like they said. But you need to find the right guy that's going to be able to put all of them together correctly.
You think that could be somebody like Brian DeBall?
Maybe. I could see DeBall getting that nod. I could see a lot of guys getting that nod. I think Brady from Buffalo, honestly, would be a great one to utilize with that as well, especially if they can get some sort of wide receiver help to make Shador look better, or even if they decide to make a quarterback move and find somebody with more of a Josh Allen-like build to recreate what Buffalo has done. I could see that being the case. But at this point right now, I've been trying to look down the list of people that could potentially get hired as head coaches that aren't already head coaches. Not a lot of these guys stick out. They really don't. The Brian Flores idea is really the only one that everybody's going to be running with, because he is the top commodity until one of these guys like John Harbaugh or one of these guys get fired.
Schefter was saying last night the same thing with Stefanski. He said that if he wanted a job, he could take any of these jobs.
Yes.
That's how hot of a commodity the Stefanski big is. I'm not a big Stefanski guy, but I know other people talking to Kerr and his son yesterday. They were all over it. Like, Stefanski's a great coach, and okay, cool. I don't see it.
I don't either. I looked back at everything that he's done, and don't get me wrong, I know that Stefanski's a suitable head coach in the NFL. That is for sure. But let's talk about his offensive thing, or his offensive standings, because that is what Stefanski is. He was an offensive coach, a quarterback guru, as it were. And we already highlighted for you 13 quarterbacks in 6 years since he's been there. Okay. Well, let's go down some other stuff. Total QBR. Guess where they were in the 6 years he was there, Sparky?
The bottom.
30th. 41.4. Yards per attempt. Guess where they were?
At the bottom.
Bottom. 29th. 6.5. Completion percentage. Guess where they were?
At the bottom.
At the bottom. 60%. 31st in the NFL. All of that coming from ESPN. So if you're it's the same thing I say about Aaron Glenn. If you're such a good offensive-minded head coach, if you're such a quarterback guru, if you're the reason Baker Mayfield came out of nowhere with the Cleveland Browns, as everybody says you are, then why do you suck?
Why are you unemployed?
Why are all of your quarterbacks at the bottom of the barrel? Why is your guy, Dylan Gabriel, looking like the worst quarterback of the entire roster this season, and you played about 6 of them? Come on, guys. I agree. Don't get me wrong. I'm not sitting here saying that he's a scrub as a coach. He's not. He's going to get a job somewhere. It's just like they say about Harbaugh. The minute he gets let go, if that ends up happening, he's got a job tomorrow. Why? Because of exactly what I just brought up to you a couple seconds ago. Look at the rest of the crew. Look at everybody else looking for a job. It's really not that thick of it. It's really not. So, realistically speaking, Stefanski, it was time to let him go. It wasn't working in Cleveland. The offense never got clicking, ever. And that's with Nick Chubb. We all forget that he had Nick Chubb for a long time. Now, granted, Nick got hurt a lot. But he was the National Football League's top rusher for a good portion of his time with Cleveland. So it was time. It was time for the team to move on after 6 years of this. And they tried. You can't sit there and tell me they didn't try. They tried. So, realistically speaking, I'm not surprised. Yes. Kevin Stefanski crying in the corner. I'm sorry, Grandpa.
And watch him get hired by Atlanta.
The damn Sanders family did it again. They took it from us. They took everything from us. Let's take a break real quick. We'll talk about Jonathan Gannon on the other side and why he was fired from the Arizona Cardinals, even though the Cardinals said they were actually okay with the way the season went. Apparently not. Apparently not. Let's take a break. This is the Early Bird Special right here on KGEO Sports Talk. Welcome back. No, I always wonder what it looks like from the streamer's perspective because they can't hear the music. All they see me is bobbing my head like a Muppet.
Like a Money Wise show right now. I'm like, hey, it's your turn. Oh, it's you.
Oh, yeah,
bobbing
sorry.
his head.
Welcome back. This is the early bird. Sorry. Take two. This is the early bird special right here on KGEO Sports Talk 101.1 FM, 12:30 a.m. We're also streaming video live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. You can come join us on all those social media platforms. You can comment down below as well. If you're on YouTube, we will see your comment and we'll be able to chime in and answer any questions that you guys may have. Or feel free to text in or call 661-842-2000. One coaching change that happened after the show yesterday, or at least the head coaching change, because we already talked about Eberflus being let go from the Cowboys as defensive coordinator a little bit ago. But Jonathan Gannon, the head coach of Arizona, not as safe as initially thought by Adam Schefter and many other people that I was reading as well. And honestly, I kind of get why. It's the same reasoning we gave for Stefanski. Okay. When Gannon was hired to be the head coach of the Arizona Cardinals, he was coming off of a year with the Philadelphia Eagles as the defensive coordinator, where he was second total defense, 8th in scoring defense. It was the year they did amazingly. And in his time with Arizona, although short, bottom of the league in points per game, yards per game, third down percentage. There aren't very many stats, in my opinion, defensively that highlight how good you are, because a lot of things are technicalities. A lot of things can be schemed. Personally, yes, you could look at passing yards and rushing yards and how bad a team is when it comes to covering that. But a lot of the time, it really does have to do with who these guys went up against, how they were schemed, and the weaknesses that are glaring on someone's team. But third down percentage, yards per game, and points per game, altogether, those three are three of the biggest ones. How many points you give up, how often you can turn or get that ball back to your offense, and how many yards total you give up per game if it's a ridiculous amount, ergo somewhere in the 350 to 400 range. That's a pretty glaring problem. It is. And guess where Arizona was? Bottom of the barrel in all three of those categories. Averaged 26 points a game. That was 30th in the NFL. They averaged 352 yards a game. That was 28th in the NFL. And third down percentage, they gave up 45%. That was since 2023. That's 31st in the NFL. 45% of the time, Arizona was giving a first down and a third down. How many of you that are football fans right now are going to sit there and tell me that you're willing to allow that from your defense? So again, for all these people who are sitting there saying, I can't believe this, stop. Let's look at the body of work and what these guys are known for. Because in my personal opinion, and I know I keep highlighting this, but Aaron Glenn somehow is still safe. Don't get it. But you're a defensive-minded coach. If your defense ain't doing it, why are you here? Why are you here? It's the same thing I said when it came to Atlanta with Mike Smith. As much as I love Mike Smith as a coach, defensive-minded guy. But at the end of his tenure with Atlanta, the defense was awful. It was non-existent. What's the point of you being here? Then we got Dan Quinn, fixed it. Then it went to shambles again. What happened? They went and found Raheem Morris. What did Raheem Morris do? Fixed it. It's all a cycle. But at this point right now, a lot of people are sitting here wondering why a lot of these guys are getting fired. And now I believe we're up to what, 6? I believe that will be 6 coaching vacancies. Well, 7 if you count the defensive coordinator job for Dallas, which I think is going to be a coveted job, if I'm being completely honest with you, because it is the Dallas Cowboys and they pay very, very well. But as it sits right now, Arizona, Atlanta, Cleveland, Tennessee, Giants. Who am I missing? I'm missing somebody. Raiders. Duh. The Raiders. Our very own Raiders.
A bunch of coordinators available too.
Yes, they do. Well, traditionally, when you fire the head coach, most of the other guys go with them. I'm hoping that's not the case with Atlanta. I want to keep that defensive coordinator. He is fantastic. Jeff Ulbrich is fantastic. And you know what's funny? He's coming from the Jets. Anybody believe that? I mean, again, most of you are saying,
Jets, they usually think that the defense is pretty good.
Yeah. That's true.
mm,
But again, I am interested to see what happens with all of these coaching vacancies. If we're going to see any college coaches maybe make the leap. I'm not 100% sure if we're going to see that or not. Maybe a Dan Lanning out there in Oregon.
that's what I was starting to think is, we're hearing a lot of, Stefanski, Harbaugh,
But we
whoever.
haven't heard a lot of college coaches.
No one's really talking about any college coaches.
Which is rare because, I mean, last year, granted, we had the crossover of Bill Belichick in the college game and all that stuff, so everybody was thinking it was going to go the opposite way as well. But let's throw out a name here, Eric Bieniemy. Haven't seen him in a while. Went down to the college game. Could come back up to the pros. Like I think there's a lot of guys down there at the college level that could get a shot here at some of these jobs. Because again, as I said earlier, there's not a lot of competition outside of your guys that are getting fired this year and maybe Brian Flores. I mean, there's not a lot of guys that I can honestly say that I'd be excited to hire. Maybe Bobby Slowick. I mean, but even then, Bobby kind of fell off after that one great year with the Texans.
I'm also thinking the other way with NFL coaches into college with the amount of money they're getting paid.
And the way the college game has evolved now into essentially professionals. Let's be honest.
The portal and you get a big name over there to a college that could pull some of these portals.
100%.
Who knows?
But talking about college game, obviously, with the NFL season now done, or the regular season, the postseason begins this weekend. That means the draft time is started. And your very own Las Vegas Raiders do hold the number 1 draft pick. And everybody is expecting them to take the quarterback out of Indiana.
Remember how that happened last time?
Look, man, I love Fernando. I think Fernando Mendoza is a fantastic human being. He seems like a really just top-notch guy. This season alone, the Heisman winner, I mean, he's led this team to an undefeated season. They beat Ohio State. They're number 1 in the country. They turned around probably the most losingest program in NCAA football history. But it's not going to help. If I'm the Raiders, and I'm being dead honest about this, if I'm the Raiders, I'm getting on the phone, I'm calling the Jets, and I'm saying, what do we got to do to get that number 2 and that later first-round pick from the Colts from you? And honestly, I'm making the deal. I'm gaining draft picks from this because a quarterback coming in is not going to save you, no matter how smart he is. When your offensive line can't block anybody, it's not going to matter. So personally, again, I have no stake in the matter, though. It is what it is. The Raiders are going to pick who they want. I would take an offensive lineman. I would take a Spencer Fanow from Utah. I would take a Francis Buagana from Miami. If he ends up playing tackle or not, I really don't know. He could play anywhere. But I think the best idea for the Las Vegas Raiders as it sits right now, build the offensive line first. Now, if Sparky's right, though, with what he said early in the show, if you could build it in the free agency market instead, like the Bears did, fantastic. Do it that way, then go get your quarterback, and now we're off and running. But the likelihood of you being able to retool a whole offensive line in one offseason in free agency is highly unlikely. And the idea of getting more draft picks for this number 1, because think about it. We've seen some crazy, crazy trades the last couple years, the last 2 decades, really, for the first overall pick. Robert Griffin III being one of them. Let's be honest. What can this team get for a first overall pick? What can they turn this into? Multiple first rounders, multiple second rounders, third rounders. Turn this into an actual smorgasbord of picks, which you desperately need. And then you get to use the surplus of money that you guys are going to have on those draft picks and a ton of free agents to make you guys relevant in the West again, which honestly can be done within a 1, 2, 3 year process. It really can if you do it correctly. That's just my personal
I think they go Fernando, and I think they finally cut the deal, and I think they're going to reach out to a team, maybe Dallas, and trade Max Crosby and get back into the first round and maybe attack that offensive line, or even, obviously, with Max gone, maybe attack the defense. But it's the Raiders. I really can't put a finger on it until I know what kind of coach they're going to get. Depending on if it's an offensive minded, then I could see, okay, then they might be thinking offensive line.
Mhm.
If they go defensive minded, if they go get, Flores, then I could see Crosby staying, and then even getting somebody, a veteran quarterback, whether it's the Kirk Cousins type guy. Maybe they'd trade. I don't know.
Mhm.
But personally, I mean, if it was me, I'd probably be doing the same thing. Build that offensive line. I was looking at Mel Kiper's mock draft that came out yesterday, and the same guy, Fano, is leaning on going to Miami at 11. Hopefully he lasts that long. But I mean, there's been a lot of talk. We talked about this last offseason. No, Max Crosby's not going anywhere. He's a Raider for life. I don't see it happening with the rebuild and how unhappy he was this year. I mean, we saw it.
Well, let's talk about that a little bit, though, because I think a lot of the conversation when it comes to the coaching carousel is how, how nice do these jobs sound to the coaches trying to take them, right? When we look at the Raiders, you're walking into a situation where you have Mark Davis and Tom Brady running everything in the board area. You got at least 2 or 3 pieces, I would say, that are like build uponable. I mean, you got Bowens, Bowers, you got Genty, and you got Max. If you want to keep Max, because that is a big thing. I think you're right. I think moving on from Max Crosby, although I would hate to see him play for anybody else, I think it just benefits. I think if you find out a way to maybe trade him to Detroit, like everybody's been talking about for years, or anybody who's willing to trade you a significant draft pick or 2 for him, I think you take it just solely because of where you are. But how are you thinking these coaches are looking at this job? Do you think that this is one of those jobs where everyone's like, you know what, there's a lot you can do with Vegas? Are you thinking a lot of people are looking at it as this is a massive rebuild where I'm going to walk in here and literally have to ship out everybody? Like, what side are you thinking these guys
I
are
would
looking
take
at this
that
from?
job over Cleveland.
True.
I mean, you're in Vegas and it's a long rebuild. I'm probably job security for 3 or 4 years.
At least.
And
well, actually, we said that about Pete Carroll, and
but
look
Pete
what happened
Carroll-
after year 1.
Pete Carroll brought in Geno. So I immediately thought if Geno doesn't play well, and if he doesn't have a mindset for Geno, it's probably 1 and out. But
Yeah.
I mean, with how you said, I mean, how the AFC West is right now, we don't know what Kansas City is going to look like this year. We don't know if Kelsey's going to be there. We don't know if Mahomes is going to be ready. Winnie's going to be ready.
We don't know if Denver's offense is ever going to figure themselves out.
If the Bo Nix thing is real, I mean, and the Chargers. I mean, the Chargers are the Chargers. It could be a good Chargers team. We'll see this weekend. But I think that job at least sounds better than a lot of them. Personally, I mean, there is a lot that they need to fill with that Raiders team, but they have the picks. They have. I just don't know. And when it comes to Max Crosby, they also got some draft capital with Jacoby, the trade with Jacksonville. I mean, there's other things, but we talked about Detroit with Max Crosby. I could also see Dallas just because the amount of draft picks they have. The Raiders have salary cap money. It's just going to be an interesting offseason. And I mean, just looking at the available positions, I would put the Raiders one of the top, jobs I would look
6
at
that are open at the moment, of course.
But I still think it's probably going to double.
I don't know if
I still think it's going to double, man, because I think there's a lot of things that are still going to happen.
Jobs too?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. If we count coordinator jobs too, then I could see that being a thing. But head coaching jobs, I can't see it doubling. I think head coaching jobs, we may see 1 or 2 more. Maybe.
I still think we get another one probably by the end of the week, but I'm still on the fence with Miami. I don't think Miami knows if they're going to keep McDaniel. Yesterday, they were reporting, he's safe for another year. I don't think you can say that without a GM.
And McDaniel's comments yesterday didn't necessarily leave me feeling any safer about that.
And I'm the coach until they tell me
elsewhere. That's not what you want to hear. I mean, most of these guys, I get it. Like, yeah, your future is not in your own hands. I understand that, but you shouldn't be telling the media, well, until they tell me otherwise, I'm right here. It's like, okay, that doesn't tell me anything. That tells me that you have been left out of the bubble altogether and you don't even know what the future looks like. So I'm not going to take him saying that I'm the head coach for granted or for verbatim at all. I'm going to take that with a grain of salt. I don't think he even knows what the heck's going to happen. And you highlighted it yesterday. Aikman's not a fan.
No.
And Aikman's very vocal about not being a fan of the direction of this team, which is kind of interesting to me when I think about it more and more, but it is what it is. And at this point, Miami, although could benefit from keeping him there, but at the same time, what is the benefit? Because I don't think Quinn Ewers is going to be your quarterback. And if you do essentially what you did to Brian Flores and Tua, and you draft a guy and Mike doesn't like him, and now it comes down to, okay, is it McDaniels or is it the quarterback? You're right back at square one.
Yeah, and looking at, the first 6 picks of the draft, 5 of those teams don't have a head coach.
No.
And who do you think the other one is that has a head coach? The Jets.
Yeah, of course. And again,
I'm another team that I would be interested in if I was looking for a job is the Giants. I think that defense is almost complete. That's a tough defense, and all the injuries, you're going to get Neighbors back. You're going to get the running back. What is his
Cam
name?
Scadaboo.
I mean, I think that's a lot to build with.
What do you think that they do with this team, though? Because honestly, I agree with you. But with the draft stock so high, a lot of people are actually very critical of them dropping out of the top 3. Personally, I have no issue with it because I don't think there's anybody in the top 3 that you would have benefited from getting, really. And that's why I'm saying, like, because I agree. I think the Giants are right there. They just need to mature a little bit. But what do you think they need to kind of round this team out? Do you think they need another tackle to make sure Jackson Dart doesn't get hit as much? Do you think that maybe they go get a second wide receiver so they don't have to rely on Neighbors and Wandale so much?
I think they go wide receiver. And looking at Kuiper, he took the Carnell Tate from Ohio State,
which is a great choice.
Which you put him in with Neighbors and Scadaboo. I mean, that could be an explosive offense depending on what type of coach they bring in.
Yeah. And again, if you don't have an offensive-minded coach at this point, I don't know what you're doing because you need somebody that's going to develop those young stars that we've already talked about. The defense, like you said, is already there. Brian Burns has them working fine. It's more about figuring out a way to develop this offense and all of the star players that you have, because they do have star players at almost every major position. Even the tight end, Johnson does not look bad at all. I wouldn't necessarily call him a top 10 tight end
yet.
Well, there are possibilities for everything. But
I want to know what the GM has on the team owner, because I cannot believe that fool still has a job.
Honestly, watching that season of Hard Knocks and hearing his take on Saquon and all that type of stuff, there's got to be something. They've had those meetings before. He probably heard something in a meeting where he's looking at the owner saying, "Oh, really? Like, I'm going to hold that one for a while and see what the heck happens here." But I, again, kind of put him in the same situation as the Colts GM. If you do not have success early, and I mean early next season, you might be out of a job just solely because it's clearly not working out. Because besides this draft class, he really hasn't drafted that well. He really hasn't. Outside of Jackson Dart, Cam Scadaboo, and Neighbors, every other draft pick that they've gotten has been pretty,
Abdul Carter,
par to subpar. Abdul Carter, even though, like, it took him all season to start looking good. And I'm not saying that next season won't be different, but we all know that the sophomore slump is a real thing. And at this point, are you going to do anything to divide yourself from a James Pierce in Atlanta? Because everybody was sitting there looking at you as the game-changing defensive guy this year, outside of Travis Hunter. But what did we get out of you? Second overall pick, and I don't even think probably 3/4 of the season, he had half a sack. That's not enough, no matter how many pressures you get. Let's take a break real quick. We'll get some more stuff on the other side. There was a fantastic day in basketball yesterday, and I have some audio that I want to play as well. Some thoughts about some of these coaching hires and fires and whatnot, and get our last thoughts on all of that. This is the Early Bird Special right here on KGEO Sports Talk. Welcome back. Early Bird Special right here on KGEO Sports Talk, 101.1 FM, 1230 AM. We're also streaming video live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch every single morning. It's set from 7 to 9. You can come join us on all those platforms, including TikTok and Instagram as well. Like, share, and subscribe, all that type of good stuff.
Have a good day at school, Bubba.
Aww.
Don't awe me.
Oh, look at that.
We're doing hot chicken tonight, so I'm pumped.
Ooh, anything hot chicken, I'm all for it. I make a hot chicken spaghetti.
I was doing my big FM this morning. Somebody called in and was talking about a chocolate lasagna that Olive Garden used to do.
Okay, but wait, what are we working with here? Because
I don't know.
I can see how this is done if you take out all of the elements that make lasagna a lasagna.
Well, what got me off was it's dark chocolate, which is disgusting to me. But no, there's I always forget and I always have to text them. There's a hot chicken place over by Walmart on Gosford, and it's not Dave's Hot Chicken. It's the other one next to Panda. And it's really good. I think it's locally owned, but we've been on this hot chicken
We
kick.
used to have a spot right over here. I think it's called Baba's Hot Chicken or something like that. Is that still there?
I believe so.
Is it? Oh, it's so. If it's still there, go. It's so good. Even the hot one that I think they make a kind of waiver for.
I will say I get the medium because I learned the hot is way too hot.
Yes. Yeah. No, when they say hot chicken, they mean hot chicken.
It is hot.
It's not like
Don't
that's
touch your face hot.
Yeah, like this is like hot one's hot. Like you're not gonna want to do anything afterwards. Real quick before we get to our guest of the day, Mr. 24KG, talk all things wrestling. We were going over what job right now is the most coveted, I suppose. Personally, I would say it's the Atlanta Falcons job, but maybe that's me being biased. But obviously, the Cleveland Browns job is up for grabs. We were just talking about how the Giants need to find an offensive-minded head coach to really put stuff together. What do the Browns need to do? What direction do they really need to put or to take this? Personally, I think it's kind of the same as the Giants need to find something that's going to take these young tools on offense and make them into superstars. But I don't know exactly which direction Cleveland's going to be looking, because if you have the number 2 defense in the NFL, you might as well capitalize on that and fine tune them into becoming the best defense in the NFL, with other teams like the Houston Texans obviously holding that title as of right now. Let's hear from Mr. Goldhammer real quick. He was on with Freddie and Harry the other day, and this is what he had to say about which direction the Cleveland Browns will be looking for their next head coach.
I think if you ask the guys in the locker room, I think they really like Jim Schwartz, and I think they would say consider him first. Who's the Browns defensive coordinator, has done a great job. It's been the best thing about the Browns for the last 3 years. But Andrew Berry is running this search, and he's never done this before. And I would be stunned if that's the direction that he went. I think they want somebody who is like-minded for them and who's not going to rock the boat and is going to kind of do what they in the front office tell them to do. I think this is going to be a front office-driven organization. So if I had to guess, I think the next coach of the Cleveland Browns is probably somebody whose last name I can't pronounce and who I've never heard of right now. And that person might end up being the greatest coach in NFL history, but probably they'll get fired in 2 years.
So, and he's not wrong on that last part. He'll most likely be fired in 2 years just because it's Cleveland. But let's throw out some names of potential offensive-minded head coaches, because let's be honest, that's probably the route they're going to go. They're going to find somebody that's going to fine-tune Fannin and Judkins and Shador and all these young tools that they have that they're going to hopefully turn into a feasible offense to win the AFC North. So let's say Clint Kubiak from Seattle, Joe Brady, Cliff Kingsbury from Washington, Dan Pitcher, the offensive coordinator from the Bengals, will be up. The Rams pass game coordinator I'm seeing here is also one of these guys. Is there anybody that really stands out, in your opinion, to be the next favorite to come to Cleveland?
Not really. I like the Schwartz pick, though. I think that would be a hell of a pick.
Schwartz would be interesting. I mean, personally, I am going to go with Cliff Kingsbury. Cliff Kingsbury, former head coach. I think that he is a guy that has some offensive ideas that can get somebody like Shador at least passing more in a spread-like offense, and can still utilize a great running back in Judkins, who will be coming off a very serious leg injury as well. So you're going to have to weigh that coming into next season. But
I forgot about Schwartz, man.
Schwartz
and
is
wasn't he
fantastic.
a head coach for Detroit for a little while?
I think you're right. But again, very, very rarely do we see that happen unless they had done it during the season. And I just don't know if Cleveland thinks that the answer for them in the coaching room is already on the staff. I think they're thinking it's got to be somebody outside, but who knows? We'll see what happens. Let's take a break. We'll get our guy KG in here right afterwards. This is the Early Bird Special. Welcome back. Early Bird Special Hour 2 right here on KGEO Sports Talk 101.1 FM, 12:30 a.m. And it is time to talk all things wrestling with our guy 24KG. Pretty sure he was there.
Oh, God. Oh, wait, before we talk wrestling, I'm still under the weather from that beat down my Niners took. I keep having flashbacks of McCaffrey dropping the
I
pass.
honestly should look back.
Oh, wait. Oh, my God. It's the sound of everybody's parlay bets, sending them into the abyss of debt.
Death.
How you doing?
We are well. How are you, sir?
I'm all right, man. Just listening to the sounds of my Niner Nation brethren.
Well.
My brethren just hurt simultaneously. There's a lot of palpitations and constipations and all connotations going on this weekend.
It's a whole new season, man.
NFL.
Everyone's undefeated.
That's what I was just about to say.
Yeah.
At least you get to keep playing football.
Right?
Some of us have to sit there and
Quit
watch
your
our teams at
complaining.
home.
It could be way worse.
It's all right.
It could
It's
be
all right.
so much
It's all
worse.
right. You
Honestly,
guys are
it's a
correct.
winnable game this week, I think.
Well,
in my
it's a shame we got to go down there to Philly and pray we don't get punched in the mouth. So
Sure.
we'll see.
Yeah, no, that's going to be the big thing is if the Philly Nation doesn't just pop you guys in the mouth and then you have that shocked look on your face.
I don't think Philly's been.
Oh, no. I don't think we're going to be
No.
shocked. If something bad happens, we got to look at the coach. Come on, man.
True. What
We
again? Well,
got to look at these coaching decisions, man. And we've been riddled with injuries, but nonetheless, you guys have been covering this. Let's get to
I
all
believe
things
it's
WWE.
you that said this though on Friday that if there's one thing Kyle Shanahan knows how to do, it's lose a Super Bowl.
Oh, yeah, man.
think
We
you-
can
and
definitely count. We can
We
count
can
on him for
definitely
that.
count on Kyle Shanahan to lose a Super Bowl. This
This is definitely bowl or bust season, and I've never meant it more so than I have right now.
Absolutely. Before we jump on to that fantastic Raw from Barclay last night, there are certain things within the world of wrestling that I need to throw at you just to see what your thoughts are with this. First and foremost, although we've been talking for over a year about the retirement of one John Cena, we had another major retirement in the world of professional wrestling, but in the New Japan area, Hiroshi Tanahashi. Did I pronounce
Yes.
that correctly?
Yeah, you didn't murder it. You got it.
Just under 3,000 professional wrestling matches in his career, 2,999. And this man hung up his boots for the last time. What are your thoughts on this real quick? Just an incredible career.
To the Japanese wrestling fans, the New Japan, New Lions, all those Eastern Division wrestling organizations know this man. Even the underground markets that are super high on just the technical aspect of wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
This guy's the Undertaker. Put it like that. In comparison, he is their Undertaker. A long lineage of just great matches. Everybody wanted to work with him in their heyday that has had a chance, and it's a signal of an era. Ending with all these great performers in professional wrestling that we're seeing coming around to the Americas as well. There's talks of Randy Orton, there's talks of, and we're even seeing development of AJ Styles on screen, send off happening right now with things that even transpired last night on Raw. So it's, it's with a tear in my eye. It could have happened to a nicer guy, as Ric Flair would say.
And then I just thought this was cool because I did get to catch it over the weekend. Kazuchika Okada from AEW was his final wrestling match, which was apropos as the two have a long history together. The only thing, though, that I found a little weird and a lot of the wrestling fans found weird is that WWE didn't allow some of their talent to go and celebrate this man as he was retiring, including one Finn Balor, Shinsuke, and Io Sky, all sent their well wishes via social media, but none were there in person, as almost all of AEW's wrestlers were that were connected to this man. What are your thoughts on that? Should WWE have allowed these guys to take the day off and go honor this man who is a huge, huge idol in the world of Japanese professional wrestling?
Hey, man, Sparky is already thinking what I'm going to say. Papa H don't play, okay?
We're in a new season. We got stuff to do.
I get that, but
Yeah.
there are certain
Come
things.
on. Hey,
like
we
football.
are already embarking on a European press tour for the Royal Rumble, where next week these guys will be in the UK for the foreseeable future until we get an alert on what state shows are going to happen. But yeah, we've got moves to make, and we're missing champions. We have a roster of champions that are injured right now, and we need all hands on deck is what the mentality is in WWE right now. So can we spare some people to do a diplomatic send-off? No. On your free time, yes. If it's on your free time, of course. But for us, no. Contractually, wrestling, no. Goodbyes and well wishes via video, sure.
Okay, but here's
contact our people first.
Here's our thing, though. I get that when it comes to EO, because EO obviously had a wrestling match on Monday that was pivotal to the show, and they needed her there. So I get that. But what did Finn Balor do?
He interviewed Cody.
All right, look, we could talk about what happened in the past and Bullet Club and all that stuff, or what it means to the marks and everybody who does. But for those who doesn't, they want to hear some WWE and what happened on Raw last night, bro. Let's not get too foreign off topic.
Well, going back, I mean, starting with Raw, I mean, we got a bunch of comments saying this was one of the worst Raws they've seen. Personally, I enjoyed it.
I just didn't get the Stranger Things reasoning. Yeah. I don't get me wrong. I get that there's this Netflix pairing and all that type of stuff, and I get
like a week late.
Great. Yeah, I get that it's great.
Super
publicity though, but you didn't have any of the kids there.
There was posts of some of the kids backstage earlier in the week, but there was nothing there.
They could have done somebody Netflix could have sent somebody in a Demi Gorgon suit from the network to, do some things backstage or have an interaction with, something like that. They could have used the radio van in a match or something. You know what I mean? I think Vince McMahon probably would have took it to a whole new medium unnecessarily and really probably turned us off to it. But still, I felt it was too safe. It was no risk being taken. It looked like a great branded partnership to further the streams and viewership hours of Stranger Things, which is the same network they're on. So no problem with that correlation. But it just needed a little bit more. Even as a fan, I felt it was lacking. And if they're going to do a themed type of show, you really got to pour into it. Not to the point where it's cheesy, but almost, because children still watch this product.
Go with what you were saying, Sparky.
It was cheesy. It was cheesy, and I think as a Stranger Things fan, it was a week late and $1 short.
I agree with that, but I also think that they're probably looking at this from a vantage point of this isn't for Stranger Things fans. This is more for the wrestling fan that has never seen Stranger Things, and then they're seeing all of this stuff for the first time, and they're wondering, okay, what is this all about? I'll check it out.
And see, I thought it was the opposite. I thought it was for Stranger Things fans that haven't watched wrestling.
I mean, I don't know.
I mean,
it could go either way, because at the end of Game of Thrones, there was a lot of cross-platform promotions going on with that too. You had Game of Thrones, these people appearing in watch commercials and whatnot.
But the Game of Thrones stuff, at least you got gear that matched the show and all that type of stuff. Forgive me if I'm wrong, but I didn't notice anybody with Stranger Things inspired gear.
No, just the belt that they showed with the person in the fan. But I personally, with the setup of, this is going to be the biggest Raw, it's kicking off the year, blah, 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 blah. There's going to be, Jericho, and there's going to be this and that, and blah, blah.
I felt a little underwhelming.
There was no Jericho.
I was underwhelmed when it came to that. I think the matches were great. I heard a lot of bad talk about the Becky match, which we've been saying this for a long time. It's time to move Becky back up to the big titles.
Yes.
And I didn't understand when the match started and they showed what's her face,
Ivy.
Yeah. I was like, okay, she's gonna lose, and they're gonna set up the Ivy and Maxine type deal, and then Becky got the title. I was like, okay, well that surprised me.
Yeah, I don't know if this is to speed run a boost for Maxine or something of that nature, but I agree. I was not expecting her to lose this match yesterday.
Yeah, I think they're gonna maybe tie in some type of three-way match or whatnot to kind of just give Ivy her shot and some shine, some TV time. I almost want to say some of the booking looks a little overlapping and confusing right now, a little repetitive, but especially at the same time.
But I will say,
And
See, you guys are worried about the tag team division. It's the women's mid-card division, right?
But
Right.
they've exhausted every possible combination that we've seen so far of a women's tag team division, which really makes it, kind of spread thin when it comes to legitimate competitors for those tag team titles. Like, who are we going to have come up against Io and Rhea? Nia and Lash? Like, is that where we're going with this? Because if that's where we're going, it's predictable.
The one thing I was surprised and I actually enjoyed was how Mysterio and all of them are the ones getting after the Vision. I was like, okay, I wasn't expecting that.
Aren't letting them live this down. And honestly, I am okay with the route the Vision is headed. I'm okay with Austin Theory stepping in after the loss and doing what he did, because that just shows me you have bigger plans for him. And I think a lot of the fan base isn't really clicking with this as much as they wanted them to. I think everybody was kind of hoping, they were thinking, ooh, Austin Theory, this is going to be fun. This is going to be a lot of great stuff to see, but we haven't seen that reaction from the fan base yet.
Yeah, it's been a very slow burn with the storyline with Austin Theory since he's been implemented into the Vision. I agree with you entirely on that, Chris. But, Triple H, he always wants to leave something for you to see down the line. And if we go back, I'm pretty sure we'll find some Easter eggs that allude to whatever this conclusion is going to be with the Vision. But for right now, they are really moving smooth.
Well, that's
in my I think it's all for Seth.
That's what I was thinking in my head.
Oh yeah.
Seth's comeback here. But what's the next PLE? Is it Rumble?
It's Rumble, yeah.
So obviously that means the vast majority of the roster is going to be busy that day because they have the Royal Rumble matches. Do they keep Braun Breaker out of it and give him a second shot at this belt at that PLE, you think?
I'm just wondering what the scenario is on why they haven't pulled the trigger on him, because last night would have been the perfect time and Punk could have got it back at the Rumble. Let's give this man the strap and get his first run underway. But
they never do that though with the young up and comers. They have to lose the first maybe
but still the problem with what we're seeing majority of is the complaint from people saying there aren't enough fresh faces. We had Javon Evans sign his main event Raw deal via commercial. And then we also had a Logan Paul, Austin Theory segment that was via commercial. There were more commercials, I think, that interrupted the flow of the matches last night on Raw than ever, which really sent people in two ways. One, to the kitchen, and two, to the bathroom.
And Netflix doesn't allow you to fast forward anymore.
You can't.
No. So you might as well watch it after it's done broadcasting at its regular time.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter anymore. That's what I do. I wait until 8 o'clock so I can fast forward to it, and it doesn't allow you
the same thing.
Traditionally, but I will say the best promo was Oba.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Again, he is going to be fantastic on the main roster. But okay, so since you brought it up, because that was one of the main things that shocked me, was I knew we were going to get Trick Williams very soon, and we got him on Friday. He's now a part of SmackDown. But were you expecting the Javon Evans call up this quickly, especially since Javon hasn't won a major title in NXT at all yet? I mean, he won the North American title, I think, for a hot second, but he never got the NXT title, which is rare, very rare.
Chris, all the way around, yes. And I'll tell you what, they're not done yet. We're going to see call-ups from people who just didn't have time to get a good championship run down there in NXT to replenish the ranks and also get bodies in the ring for the Rumble. We're going to see the Jordan Graces. We're going to see the Kalani Jordans.
We're going to see Jordan's coming up too. Jordan's going to be part of SmackDown here within 2 weeks. Watch.
We're getting a nice little dash of
Matt Cardona.
NXT talent that's been curated. And it's overdue that they're ready to be implemented into these main roster storylines.
100%. But here's my thing. We talked about it, I think, last week or the week before. There's a traditional formula that they go about with all of this, especially when you're in NXT. And traditionally, they give you a shot with that NXT title at least for a month. You know what I mean? I mean, they even gave it to Tatum Paxley. And
which was wild.
Nod. And she's fantastic. I love her, but you're right. It is wild because she's not really a main eventer yet. She's kind of
not a traditional pick for your champion now, is it?
No. And then we have guys down there like Tony D'Angelo who seem to be lost in limbo and can't get a call up at all. And again, I know this sounds like I'm standing for Tony, but I'm not. I'm just using him as an example. doesn't make sense to me, or it does, because don't get me wrong, I'm not saying Javon isn't worthy of a call-up, but I'm just shocked it's happened so quickly. And I'm wondering
not when
if didn't have a hand in this.
Well, I'll tell you like this, man. When the higher ups are higher up on a young talent, you'll see this usually happen. And I'm not saying to measure these call-ups by the pace that Braun Breaker was set at in his success, but look where he's at a year from his day, 2 years really.
Javon's gonna be higher than Carmelo, though.
Yeah, I would expect it, because expectations are extremely high on Javon Evans, but when booked right, and he's not going to be booked right all the time. We've got to remember this, but when booked right, I think he'll end up somewhere that we see what everybody else sees, a future talent, a main event star in Javon Evans. He'll get there.
And don't get me wrong, I do see that. I think Javon's fantastic. I think he really just pulls in the crowd well. And he's a natural baby face. He's the opposite of Dom. I don't think there's ever going to be a moment where you see him as a true heel, where the people are going to boo Javon Evans, because he's just that likable. And he really is, in my opinion, like the first wave of a true Gen Z wrestler. Like, this kid engulfs the Gen Z persona. This is exactly what young kids like. It's exactly how they act. And honestly, a lot of kids are going to look at Javon and say, that's me. That's what I want to be. So I love the call-up. Don't get me wrong. I'm just, again, shocked at the timing of it all and how they went about it, like you said, because it didn't make sense to me that you did this during a commercial promo while everybody else was having to watch, a Geico commercial. Like, it didn't even happen. Nobody even knew about it until afterwards. And that should be a pretty big decision, to be honest with you.
Yeah. So, seeing as how they gave Trick Williams his own segment with Sami Zayn, I would kind of feel like,
Are you not a Trick fan, or you're not a Sami fan?
I don't like Sami, but I didn't like the whole thing. Even when they extended it into the back, I was like, drop it already.
Trick Williams, former Philadelphia Eagles wide receiver as well, or rookie at least. He never really made the team.
I just don't think it stuck well.
Again, I like him. I like his entire persona. And honestly, I hope with all these call-ups, we inevitably get a mixed tag tournament again with all of the actual like couples and mixed tag teams that we have in the WWE, because there's so much in there now that it's almost I
want to go back to what Sparky said right now. I agree with you in the aspect of, hey, no problem with Trick Williams. We love Trick Willie. But Sami Zayn has been running this underdog thing for 12 years now. Can we just put the strap on him and be done with it already?
But he's going to win the Rumble.
You think so?
He's going to win it's in Saudi. Gosh. He's going to win the Rumble. Watch.
Hey, WWE loves making a moment. But really, I felt like, now I don't know whom, but in the moment that you brought this up, they could have picked Trick's opponent to be someone other than Sami, who's so beloved, but still running this underdog thing if he's the gatekeeper now. But also, in comparison, it's a crap ton better than him having a feud with The Miz.
Yes. Yeah, I will agree with that.
And honestly, I like, though, the trajectory we're getting with The Miz's character, that he is the locker room leader outside in the real world, but his character right now is essentially being shunned because he wants to be the locker room leader, but no one respects him. I mean,
I think it would have worked a lot better if you would have had Trick Williams have his first interaction with the returning Matt Cardona. And Matt's out there explaining what he's doing, why he's back, how he came back with his name, King of the Indies thing, and out comes Whoop that Trick.
I did that, love, though. That would have been nice, but I did love that they gave
like Booker T singing "I Believe" in Joe Hendry. It's up there.
It's
up there. It's up
there. That's
man.
A cringe moment for me, if I'm being honest.
You gotta love it.
I did love, though, that they gave Cardona both of his entrances. They let you know, hey, this is Zack Ryder, but not anymore. This is the good version. This is the indie god that we're going to be absolutely loving. Because can you imagine the matches we're about to see between Matt Cardona and LA Knight? I mean,
the Knight Riders
against
honestly the dream tag team that'll never happen. Hopefully, it's
gonna happen. Trust me. If the WWE gave us Rhea and Io, they're gonna give us the Knight Riders. It's gonna
Hey.
happen. And
Bro,
honestly, why
hey.
not? What else is LA Knight doing? They're not going to give
Hey,
him a
I'm
real shot at the
cheesing
title.
ear to ear because there's so much money on the table with that right there. But
It really
you know,
is.
nonetheless, the main event last night. What did you guys think of that? You know, I have to say, Braun Breaker. There was a spot that kind of worried me with the Frankensteiner situation and whatnot,
He's
but
been
he
slipping
recovered
with
quite
that
well.
lately.
The pile
Yeah,
driver too.
the pile driver was another head scratcher. No, hey, seeing Paul Heyman get involved and get hands put on was a great touch. Usually he stays unscathed.
Yeah, but
The spot
in a rivalry like this,
from the
he's so
yeah,
integrated into both guys, you have to.
the spot from the ring apron, the top of the rope to the table was insane. I felt like though, of course, because you can't just take everything that's said online to heart. People were expecting more. I felt like they did
Yeah.
the right booking decision, even though I want to see you know, Braun Breaker get his first title run, his world title run on and going. I felt like it was kind of the same thing they did to Jimmy Uso. It's a test.
Mm.
You know, let's see how you carry with the loss. Let's see how you rebuild. Let's see how you keep yourself structured, which they know the guy's a constant professional. But really, I felt like this was the test. And his next match with Punk, he's taking the strap off of him.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I thought one after CM Punk had to wait so damn long to get the title, I didn't think they were going to pull it on a Raw. I thought, okay,
Yeah.
this is going to be his test. He'll lose it at the PLE. I couldn't see CM Punk in the back saying, "You're not going to let me lose this title right after this to this Punk." But
Yeah.
I did like the touch where he came out with the
Steiner
university jacket and all
Yes.
that, and
The
you know,
ultimate
I have to
troll.
give it. I mean, that was a long match. I thought it was a killer match. Personally, I'm still on the fence with Austin Theory. I think he's in there as a plant for Seth.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm wondering how this story is going to end, but I think it'll be post Royal Rumble, maybe at Royal Rumble, because I agree. I think he's going to lose that title next.
So I agree with you, Sparky, that I not crazy about certain things about the match itself, and I also have to tighten myself up. Braun Breaker did have Stranger Things inspired gear technically, because the color scheme was the same color scheme, I guess, so you can qualify it. But
really, can you?
Yeah,
it's a stretch, but I'm sure there's probably more to that entire singlet than we actually know. One or multiple things with it though. One, like I said earlier, traditionally there's a formula with these things, and the young gun never wins the title that quickly. It just doesn't happen, especially like you said.
Correct.
When it comes to a veteran who's beloved by the fan base, you're not going to do that on when I won't call us a random Raw. Technically, this is, I guess, Raw day one for the year, if you want to call it that. But it is just a regular Raw taping in the Barclays Center, so there was really no major storyline or implications if he won the belt or not. But the one thing that I didn't need to highlight is what you were talking about when it comes to Austin Theory, because KG, you had referenced it earlier, that there was another spot that a lot of people didn't get to see, which was the Logan Paul and Austin Theory thing. And if you've noticed, Logan Paul has kind of always hinted that he knew who the person was underneath the mask the whole time. He's kind of been ahead of all of this in a way. I think that they're going to do this one step further. I think it's going to be Logan and Austin that are going to be the new vision with Seth. And then they turn on both Braun and Bronson. And then we get most likely a dismantling of that vision. They both
with
go their
Heyman?
separate ways. Yeah, and Heyman most likely will, because I know you've mentioned this in the past, KG, that there's possibilities he may become the new head writer of SmackDown and help them change all of that over and hopefully revive that show now that it's going back to a 3-hour time frame, which is going to be a lot of time to use. And luckily, that's going to mean that a lot more talent is going to get used. But at the same time, if it's Kit Wilson calling everybody toxic masculinity, I could live without. If I'm being completely honest, I could live without.
I don't know what happened with that. Somebody got high before they went to work and made the wrong decision with that. I don't know what was going on with that. And Stephen A. Smith would say, stay off the weed. Don't do that with creative.
No.
They sent that man out there to die on television.
But there is more to this entire thing that's brewing. I think that's why you saw, obviously, what we saw in the main event last night, and CM Punk walked away with the belt again. But with Rumble coming up, that's why I presented the question to both of you when it
Yeah,
came to
I
it.
can't see
it has to
the
be-
vision lasting too much longer. Actually, I'd give
No.
it till about maybe
Well,
March or April.
you
At the
saw it in the
longest,
intro yesterday,
July.
dude. Like the intro
The
yesterday
longest, July.
alone, when they were walking in, everyone's walking in as a group, and then here comes Braun right through the center of them as if he's saying, "Get the out of my way." And it's like he's already breaking away from
He's
them.
pulled over to with
Yeah.
the Seth vibe that we
Yes.
were getting when Seth was leading it. But two other
Yeah.
things other than the vision that I wanted to
Yes.
bring up with you guys is one, the horrible promo, whatever you want to call it, the segment with AJ and Gunther, which I thought was horrible.
I'm actually
And
okay
two,
with
I was happy with the Usos promo, but I think it lasted a bit too long, and that weird silence between.
Okay.
Are we going to a
Two
break?
things.
Coming out.
Two things. All right. The reason I felt like they really had to like rush set that up is because they're in Germany next week. So
Yes.
Gunther going over on AJ or AJ going over on Gunther, whatever they're going to do, this is going to be a series of matches. This ain't going to be just a one and done. This will be a series of matches, and the first one kicks off in Germany. I understand that. But I'm starting to suspect that Jey Uso is drunk on camera more so than we believe to be.
Let's
All right,
calm
we seen it at the awards. We're starting to see it more. So I don't know if he's just drunk or if he's just gassed and winded from the constant run it backs and the yeeting and this.
I think
and
that's
that.
it.
But yeah, it might be that one. It might be the second one. You know,
And it was a quicker one, I will say.
Yes,
The
the slurred
run back was
speech
quicker.
and the enamored phrases of saying stuff but saying nothing at the same time
Right.
is it's starting to become noticeable.
Look, man, I'm not going to say anything in that area. I think Jay's doing fine. Although,
I think-
again,
Oh yeah, he's doing a great job, but they're having fun. They're definitely
He is
having
glad
fun.
that Jimmy's there because Jimmy saves him
Yeah.
a lot.
oh yeah, no, and again,
Jimmy's always been the better talker.
we
Yes.
said that months ago. Exactly. Everybody's known that Jimmy's the better talker of the two, and Jay is probably just the more electric one, I guess, when it comes to crowd influence. But I'm not going to sit there and say he's drunk.
I do like
mean,
that
I don't think
Oos-
it was that.
I do like the
Oh,
Oos
drunk
hoodie,
with
though.
fun. Excuse me, drunk with fun. There we
I
go.
do like that Oos hoodie, but it also brings up the Unreal trailer
Yes.
that we got, which I think is going to dig into some other things that we weren't expecting, whether it was the Jimmy and his wife, or even the I thought it was going to be all based on Cena again, but
No,
I
it
think
seems
this
like
one's going to be
year's-
is really good.
This season looks like it's going to be based on Seth's fake injury and
Which
all of
looks
that kind
awesome.
of stuff, which I think it's going to be stories we already somewhat knew with little tidbits that we didn't see earlier. But I agree. I think it's going to be great.
Definitely.
I think season 3 is where you're going to get John Cena's final match and all of that type of
But
stuff.
the whole thing back to the AJ and the goofy jump off the wrestling side ring. I was like, what the hell are we watching?
Well, okay, AJ and Gunther's promo, I'm actually okay with, because again, it's a long time coming, boiling over kind of a situation, and I am actually kind of okay with AJ interrupting Gunther's entire conversation with Pierce afterwards too, because that gives more substance to it, in my opinion. Because he's
Definitely.
walking up to him and saying, "Oh, really? You're calling John a little B word, but you're going to be running to your boss crying, saying, 'I want that man,' like little B word."
The only thing I'm worried about is all this build up with Gunther back to where we thought Gunther would
be
good when he's the bad guy and he's talking over the crowd, and then to get slapped. I'm like, are you going to make him soft again?
No,
like with
I
the
think-
tap out and all that with Uso. I'm like, dude, don't. You're going to lose all that momentum. And
don't misunderstand here, though. This is not going to be AJ Styles getting over on.
oh
Gunther.
no, I'm sure he will in the beginning.
Yeah, but this is going to be, Tom from Tom and Jerry slapping the bulldog in the face because he's got the leash around his neck. Inevitably, when he pulls the dang doghouse out, it's gonna get ugly.
And he'll get his retirement match.
Exactly.
And blah 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 blah.
So like this is not gonna be one of those situations in which AJ is gonna walk away victorious and with his head held high like he used to with the Bullet Club. Like no, he's about to get his butt handed to him and probably chopped into oblivion. That's most likely what we're gonna end up seeing.
Yeah, dog.
And you see Sammy winning the Royal Rumble. I think it's gonna be Orton.
Well, again, that's what they were teasing on Friday for people who don't understand what's happening with all these guys coming out saying, "I'm coming for the champion." Yeah, it's Rumble season. Everybody's
Yeah.
coming for the championship. That's literally the whole point of the Royal Rumble. Everybody,
Everybody's guessing Roman, Randy. There's a lot of big hitters in that Rumble match that are gunning
they've
for a
been
title.
rumoring Sami Zayn though for over a year to win the Royal
Especially
Rumble.
because it's in Saudi.
Honestly,
Once again,
yeah.
like we mentioned, yeah.
So
It would be smart. It would be smart too.
I'd be shocked if it goes any other direction, to be completely honest, but that's just my personal opinion. And then real quick, one thing that I did stumble upon today, because the interview came out this morning and I haven't gotten a chance to actually listen yet. My favorite wrestling podcaster, interviewer, whatever you want to call him, Chris Van Vliet. Personally, he's a reporter. He's a TV reporter, and he's fantastic at what he does. He had an interview released today with one Stone Cold Steve Austin where they talked about his turning down of being a part of WrestleMania 40. And I say turning down in quotes because it really was just more of a time lapse situation. It looks like that he said, I wanted to be a part of it, but timing just didn't work out at all. I am open to being part of doing anything with the WWE, really. It's more of just you have to figure out the right time and when it's all going to work out for everybody's schedules. So there was supposed to be a moment in that match where we got Stone Cold Steve Austin coming down to help Cody Rhodes beat Roman Reigns and win that title finally. What say you two? Would it have been any better if Stone Cold was the one that came down and gave the stunner to Rock? Because personally, I say yes, but that just may be a kid that, grew up back in the 90s and is just remembering that one video of the two of them staring each other down while Limp Bizkit plays in the background.
It would have given us at least something to go back on for a type of closure, since they abandoned the Travis Scott Rock Sell Your Soul storyline and he was never heard from again, implemented in any storyline again.
And they took his music away from Raw.
Yeah, we could have had something to look back on and say, man, that was a nice little return to that wrap up of that era with those guys. But since we didn't, that's how I feel, just abandoned.
Yeah.
Like, the product was just left alone on the shelf and dust was collected and nobody cared.
Well, and again, this is at 40 though. This wasn't 41 in Vegas. This is 40 in Philadelphia. This is Cody ending the story. This is when Taker came. So actually, technically for you, Sparky, this probably would have affected you because this would have been, instead of Taker coming out, this would have been Stone Cold coming down. And
it probably would have hit harder.
I think it would have hit harder too. I think it would have made a big difference. But to be honest, it's kind of like what you said. I guess it really doesn't matter at the end of the day because we got what we got.
Nostalgia is expensive.
What happened with are we done with The Rock? The whole the whole story with him?
Oh, he's back.
As long as he's like shareholder, majority shareholder, he can kind of do what he wants.
Pop in whenever he wants.
Maybe they've put a stop to that even because, Vince McMahon used to do that a lot as a majority shareholder. And they've probably put something in play now to where they're like, hey, buddy, that's cool, but stay out of creative. No, it's safer that way,
I think they will forever hold this character as something they can go back to like a Vince McMahon. Like if anybody ever steps out of line too far, you could sit there and say, we'll just call the big boss. And then here comes The Rock, you know what I mean? And he handles business. But yeah, I think that we've just reached a point where he's gone back to movies. He's gone back to making money the way he has the last couple of years. And he's moved off of the whole wrestling fandom thing for a little bit. Because it has, let's be honest, he jumped on it when it was at its most peak to help it go even further.
And
he couldn't.
Wait a minute, Chris, I'm sorry. I know this sounds like an idiotic question, but has The Rock ever had an official retirement match, or was he just sent to Hollywood by young Brock Lesnar and just made periodic returns? Because he's had one of the biggest impacts in the shortest amount of times for a wrestling career.
No,
and I can't recall him ever having an official wrestling retiring match.
If he has never actually had an official retirement match, that is absolutely true. And honestly, I think this is like a LeBron James situation where he's setting it up for him and Roman to have a retirement match together. Maybe they both just kind of sign off at the same time. You know what I mean? I could see it happening. If you really want to sit there and say like the tribal chief and the high chief one last match and then they both fall, it's a draw. And
because Roman's retirement is coming a lot sooner than
Yeah.
people
Oh, yeah.
expect, you know.
And before we wrap it up, because I want to bounce off this too, because I was reading it this morning with the Shinsuke, his little segment with one of the dudes from
The MFTs?
yes, and then they talked about him, telling him to not pretty much be a B word and be a follower.
Yeah.
Don't be a follower.
Yeah, stop being a
You think we're gonna
follower.
get a branch off? You think he leaves?
I
Or
think
are they
it's
just
about time.
planning it for a while?
I think they're planting it for now until he wins a belt, because I do think that their plans are to get that U.S. title belt around Tama Tonga at some point.
And probably the
And-
tag team belts.
Yeah, around
Yeah.
the other guys, and then most likely get Solo a shot at Cody. Because personally, I do
Ooh.
think that Solo has reached that level where he's no longer a mid card. He
Yeah.
is now a main
Oh,
event.
yeah.
I agree.
So I think at this
Definitely.
point, it's just reaching that level for the MFTs where you have to make that decision. And the group is getting pretty big in number. I'm not going to lie. I keep looking
Yeah, they're getting good traction.
and the thought that they still need a female member, I don't think I can ever remember a WWE faction that reached 6+. I could be wrong. I really can't think of all of the factions that the WWE has always or ever had, but I
The
don't
Ministry of
think I've ever
Darkness.
seen- the Ministry never hit 6.
Yeah, it was about like 10 or 12 of them at one point.
It's like the NWO.
Okay, but
Yeah.
the NWO wasn't WWE, so
Yeah.
it doesn't count.
Well, it was, but it just
Yeah,
wasn't in the
regardless.
beginning. But my other one is
Then you had Nexus. Nexus was a pretty big group.
Nexus, I think, was the closest thing. I think Nexus was 6, but that was 6 males that were
Yeah.
just faceless wrestlers. Like outside
the
of
time,
Wade
yeah.
Barrett, I don't think any of them really had name recognition.
what's
Trusty
next.
Harris.
We now thank baby Jesus, but we are done with Priest and Aleister Black, which was a great match.
That we think.
But yeah, what's next with Priest? Because with SmackDown, I mean, what are we going to get out of
It
him?
is-
I'll tell
look
you what's
back on
next. The
again.
return of Karrion Kross to steal back his gimmick.
Stop it.
Jesus. I mean, seriously.
Look, man.
They did him dirty, bro.
It is what it is, but that's the part of the business. You can't do anything.
Yeah, that's
about
part
it.
of the business, but that'd be nice to fantasy book. But
I
in
think
reality,
we
I
take-
think Aleister Black. Oh, go right ahead.
No, I'm sorry. I think we take Timu Taker, as you like to call him, and we put his
Mhm.
butt back into a main event title scene anywhere. I don't care if it's as a heel or as a face, but Damien is too big of a talent to be outside of any kind of title match.
Ever since they moved him to SmackDown,
Yeah.
it's been a non-factor.
He's felt lost in the shuffle on SmackDown a lot, and I think the right feud could really put him back in the forefront of title contention, whether it's a mid card or the world title. He would be a great opponent for Cody right now, honestly.
He really would.
just to
He's a
freshen
good
it up.
tweener.
Yeah, just to freshen it up, give Cody a challenge, maybe even put Cody in peril to some sense of you could actually lose this to Priest if you don't take him serious. And then down the line, they end up teaming up or something like that. Something will happen. There'll be a bigger threat to both of them. And we move past that storyline, but it would be great to just refresh Cody's feuds and give Damian somebody that's, a bigger name to contend
or
with.
maybe after Drew gets a title.
After
could see
Drew
that.
gets the
I
we
could see Drew
run back
wrestling
that
title on
feud
him.
right there with those two for the title.
That would be hot.
Sparky, I like what you got
That
going
would
As
be
on.
long
fire,
as
dude.
there's no botches like last time, I think we'll all be okay with it. Real quick, last question for you, then we're going to let you go, my friend. But TNA has made an interesting signing as well, as they have decided to sign BDE. Brandon Does Everything, the former YouTuber, now turned wrestler or wrestling superstar, as TNA likes to call them. What are your thoughts on this? And essentially, I believe this is the third major internet influencer to kind of join the ranks of wrestling as a wrestler, because I guess you would have to qualify Logan Paul, obviously, and then the Boom guys in AEW. So it's the third major.
Okay, we're not going to mention the Boom guys in AEW.
Please don't.
He
not
had
gonna
a
do
wrestling
that.
match. Costco Dad had a wrestling match. He
All right,
counts.
look. There are very few instances where you have a Logan Paul. Okay, and I'm not saying these guys are no Logan Paul. This guy, whatever. I don't even know who it is. That's how little I care, because Logan Paul is that good. He is a 1 in 1,000 of the YouTubers, and there's hundreds of thousands of them, probably millions. But Logan Paul was a special case. All right, just like Bad Bunny was a special case.
True.
These
Bad
anomalies
Bunny
come
had a
along.
passion for it though. That's why he was good.
But hey, but still, Logan Paul, you telling me he doesn't?
No. I'm not saying that. I'm saying more of like Logan Paul
If
also has
whoever this
just
YouTube streamer is, soon as they start taking bumps and getting dropped on their back in the air, leaving their
oh
body,
no, he's
and
been doing
micro
this for the last couple
fractures all
weeks.
through this, a couple weeks.
Or I should say
Hey,
probably a couple
if
months.
you
I
don't
say
tell
couple weeks, but
everybody
I
it's
know.
a wrap for the show and we got to get on out of here, we talk about a couple weeks. Talk to me in a couple years. Get out of
Okay.
here with
Well,
that.
again,
Okay.
Logan took a couple months to get used to it, but although he had
Logan was a
innate
fish to water,
athleticism.
a bird to air, a cheetah to traction. Do you understand what I'm saying? We're not comparing apples and oranges. We're not comparing grapes and lemons. Come on, man.
I just had to get
We
a
are,
thought out
we
there.
are professional
TNA's
analysts.
making
We are
some,
having too much fun right now. Let's get to
look,
some
man.
serious
TNA's
sports after
making
this.
some
That's my
stuff.
time.
TNA's
That's my
making some
time.
moves, man. That's all I gotta say. All right, brother. Thank you so much for your time. We will talk to you next week.
Appreciate you. See you next week.
Let's take a break. This is the Early Bird Special right here on KGEO Sports Talk.
Welcome back.
This is AI music again.
Of course it is.
Oh God! Now I have to hear what it is.
You're not going to get it.
Okay, this doesn't sound like anything. What is this?
Exactly. Gorillas.
Oh, there it is.
I just like the beginning. But no, a big shout out to our boy Austin. He helped me out. I couldn't remember the name of the chicken place that we will be eating dinner tonight. It is Angry Chicks. Have you had it?
I have not.
Dude, it
Never
is
had
really good.
That sounds good.
I tried the chicken sandwiches the first couple times, and I was like, okay, I got it a little too spicy. Next time I'll go down to medium. And this last time over the holiday break, me and my boy went and we got, I think it's called the Angry Bowl, but it's the actual big chicken pieces with French fries and mac and cheese, and it is bomb.
Yes. Maybe I'll go pick them up before this incredible slate of wild card games this weekend that we'll be able to check out. Before we get to that, though, we did have something in the chat that I wanted to highlight just because it did make me laugh a little bit. It says, at this point, Rodeo Pro Wrestling beat out WWE in ratings after what I saw last night.
Ouch.
Look, man, there are some people that are very critical of the WWE at the moment going corporate, I guess. I don't know. I don't know exactly what your guys' gripes against this whole thing is. I just don't think that you guys are really seeing what I'm seeing because I, like Sparky, I'm completely okay with
A
this.
lot of people want Triple H's head,
Apparently.
but what do you think is going to come next after him?
That's what I'm saying.
You think
dude.
it'll be any better?
I
I'm
don't
just
think so.
saying.
Mm-mm.
I mean, the talent is there.
Again, just because Triple H runs the writing room doesn't mean he writes every story.
It's a group.
It is a group effort, much like a football team. Just because Geno Smith drops back to pass and gets sacked doesn't mean Geno is the problem. Who let the man go?
Who is it? Bruce Pritchard?
I don't know. I don't know who's to blame. I really don't. But at this point, I think everybody just needs to pump the brakes a little bit and remember we're moving towards Royal Rumble. We're moving towards Elimination Chamber. We're
the
moving
road to
towards
WrestleMania.
literally the most entertaining part of the year for wrestling fans. Just pump the brakes. It'll all get back to good things, I promise. If you want to hear some great sports, though, we will have it for you right here tonight on KGEO Sports Talk, starting at 5:45. If you want some men's basketball in the NCAA, as Texas Tech heads to Houston. And then this weekend, as I already told you, we have an incredible slate of wild card games
All of them.
that we will go down right now and let you know what our thoughts are for each and every one of these, or at least our first impressions before the week gets started. Because as you know, developments happen every single day, and God only knows what can happen before these games get underway. The two number one seeds that you will not be seeing this weekend will be the Seattle Seahawks on the NFC side, the Denver Broncos on the AFC side. So both of those guys will be taking a well-deserved week off. Although, again, as you guys have heard me say numerous times and probably ad nauseum at this point, don't think that's going to work out for either of these guys here in week 2. But we'll see what happens on January 17th and 18th. Starting on Saturday, we got the Rams headed to Carolina to take on the Panthers at 1 o'clock, and then the Packers will headed to Chicago in Soldier Field at 5 to take on the Bears. How do we feel about these first two games? Personally, I think this should be a walk for both the Rams and the Bears. Should be. The Bears are going to have a harder time, obviously, because this is an interdivisional rival that knows them very, very well. And no matter how many injuries the Green Bay Packers have, they are going to be coming, I would expect, with a head full of steam, if not solely to beat the ever-living crud out of their rival before they head to the next round.
Yeah.
So
I think now that Devontae Adams is back and healthy, I think the Rams should steamroll.
yes.
I'm still pulling for the underdog. I would love to see Carolina get through it, but I don't see it happening. And I think the same thing. I think what we've seen with the Packers the last month or so, I think it should be a pretty easy game for the Bears.
It's still entertaining to me that we could see an absolute repeat of the 2015 playoff run for the Denver Broncos. If anybody realizes this, Denver was the 1 seed, took on the Pittsburgh Steelers in the first round after that, which they could very well do. And then they took on the Patriots after that, which they could very well do again. And then they took on the Panthers in the Super Bowl. Now, it's not a Cam Newton-led Panthers team, so I highly doubt the Carolina Panthers make it that far. but it still would be kind of entertaining to see history repeat itself in a way that I don't think anybody was expecting, and take us back to a time pre-COVID when everybody was happy and healthy and, didn't have to worry about all these things. Let's go to Sunday's games real quick. The Bills headed to Jacksonville at 9:30 to take on the Jaguars. Then you'll have the 49ers headed to Philadelphia to take on the Eagles at 1:15. And then the Chargers will wind out our Sundays, headed to Foxborough in the snow to take on Drake May in the Patriots. This Sunday slate is going to be so much fun to watch. I'm going to tell you right now, that 5:00 game between the Chargers and the Patriots is going to be very, very telling, because I think these are two football teams that are desperately trying to make their mark on the AFC. I'm not going to say this is a last-ditch effort for Justin Herbert, but it's definitely running out of time. If he doesn't do it now, we're going to have the same questions about him that we have about a lot of these other quarterbacks, your Josh Allens, your Lamar Jacksons, and all these others. Can he win it when it really matters the most? And on the opposite side of this, Drake May, although I know the MVP is a regular season award, would do greatly for his MVP stake if he wins this game and gets a run going for this brand new led Patriots team. What's your favorite out of these three, though?
I like the first one. I like the
Bills.
Jags game. I think Jacksonville is going to make it a game. And I personally think Jacksonville is going to pull it out. I'm also pulling for the Chargers. Obviously, I'm not a Patriot fan, but I think if Harbaugh wants to get over this hump, it's got to be beating the Patriots.
Yes.
And I'm going to go back to the MVP. I think it's Stafford to win. And I'm in the middle game too. The 49ers Eagles.
That's a very winnable game for the Niners. I'm going to tell you right now, Brock Purdy can go back to the way he was playing week 16, 17 and get back on track there. The Eagles are in trouble. And then Monday night game, Texans at the Steelers.
Houston.
I have to echo what I've heard from ESPN, which is, as great of a win that was for the Pittsburgh Steelers, I don't believe in them. I really don't. I think Houston's going to make a absolute just sacrifice out of Aaron Rodgers on Monday, and we're going to see a bloodbath, unfortunately. So we will see what we will see. We'll give you more information on all of these games and all the developments in sports tomorrow. Join us back here 7 to 9 as we bid you adieu for the day. I'm sorry, I'm trying to find
Isaiah Juarez from 559 Local Fighter will be joining us tomorrow, as well as Ryan Holt. We'll talk a little Condors.
Fantastic. Until then, enjoy Blech and Abdallah coming up right after us, right here on the Early Bird Special. And join us back here 7 to 9. Sparky, let's get out of here.